This is Smithy.tv.
This is Kenny Robinson. You are checking out Breaking Down the News. Today I have my special guest, old friend of mine from when I first came to Toronto, Mr. Clifton Joseph. What up, CJ?
Hey, not much, Kenny. I always love to see, and so often I see I want to be one of your backup singers, your cheerleaders or something, Kenny and the Jets.
Well, I think actually more, because now it's more of a hip-hop thing. You'd be that hype man.
Oh, the hype. Oh, I always like to be the hype man. Kenny's the like Flavor Flav, yeah.
Either that, or I guess even older school would be how James Brown had the cat that would come out, name all the hits. You heard, boom.
That brother's, I prefer the Flavor Flav thing. That brother doesn't get to say much. He's
he,
more like a valet. I mean,
he gets to name all the hits.
Oh yeah, you're right.
So you go. He's the one that gave you Spookation. Boom, Rainbow Pussy Swirl. Boom. That fabulous that fabulously outrageous, banned from major campuses all across this land. The godfather of all things black comedy,
James Brown.
Yeah, so we could big it all up, or
Say it loud.
Or poor BB King. Now he had his. Did you see that picture of BB?
BB looks like he's about 100 pounds.
If that BB looks like Ben Better, Ben Better King. There's a picture of BB King for those of you who haven't seen it. He's in the hospital. I put it on my Facebook, then I took it down after I thought about it, because I'm saying, man, I don't want to remember the king this way.
Yeah.
He's got like all the tubes and the mask, and the story is that he's been a victim of elder abuse. And if any of you folks have ever dealt with an elderly relative, it happens. But but the
Speaking of the blues,
yeah. So the thing is, though, our music's changing. Music's changing. Music's dying, for some say. So or even in the past week, while they had the going-ons in Baltimore, I was trying to find every song that would be appropriate for it. Mm-hmm. So I had to go back to The Revolution Will Not Be Televised.
Sky Herons. Mm-hmm.
I had to go back to There's a Riot Going On.
Dig.
Had to go back to What's Going On, Make Me Wanna Holler.
The way they do my life. This ain't living.
Had to go to Fire.
Womp womp womp. Womp womp womp. All the Cincinnati, Ohio players.
That's what, and you could hear the sirens and everything in the background. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, well, now I hear Prince is supposed to be coming out with a song for Baltimore.
Yeah, Prince certainly
which
is.
You will not be able to buy. Apparently, you have to have a tattoo of the symbol on your heart, but you have to have been born with it in order to get it. After they scan you at a music store.
You better watch out, man, because a lot of people, fans who showed up at Massey Hall for that non-existent secret concert might get on your ass.
Well, I think they're too busy looking for Prince after paying for those tickets for the show that he never gave. At least with country singers, we're going to be there, and they don't show up. Prince didn't say he was going to be there.
I was surprised and disappointed. And it was rainy and cold that day, too, if you remember.
I have a scalper friend of mine, and he said a friend of his gave 10 homeless guys $100 each to stand in line, because he was then going to flip their bracelets and make buku dollars. Instead, he lost $1,000.
Wow.
So, and them homeless guys said, hope Prince comes back again. So,
Prince is a great singer, though. I mean,
I don't think anybody can touch him.
I admire his artistry and his politics in dealing with the music industry, too, and making a move. And that whole period of time when not him alone, but even an unlikely guy like George Michael and so on.
Had a big fight with Sony and
went up against the big guys. Because it's another slavery scene with the music business, right? That's what
always has been.
Yep, and then that's what's happening now. And music, like I look at modern day R&B and hip hop, and
what do you think of it now? You buy any new stuff?
Not in a long time. In fact, I don't even buy cats I like.
You're not even buying the people you love?
There are other ways of getting shit these days.
Okay, yeah. Oh, so you download?
I download, I upload, I sideload, Kenny.
Okay. See, I'm old school. I still like to have a picture to look at and a lyric to read. and and an album cover or a cover of a CD to grin at, that foolishness. I'm still old school. If you're gonna, I still like something that you can do your drugs off of, whatever your music came into.
About
the
Marty
old,
Wailers back
the old
in the
album
day.
cover where you shake the seeds out and all that. You can't do that on the
No, you
download.
can't. I miss album covers, man. 'Cause
Yes.
Parliament Funkadelic and of course out of Chicago, the artist for them, Pedro Bell. I used to back in university days. I actually call Pedro Bell. Man. I said, man, blah, 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 harass him every once a week or so on. And they were doing their thing, independent. We used to study. We used to go to my friend's basement in Willowdale, get high, and pass around the album cover and read all of that stuff.
Because the album cover was worth more than the music sometimes.
Declassified FBI, CIA information and so on. They jump on the Doobie Brothers. Do you want a Doobie Your Funk? Trick James, George Dookie.
Earth, Wind, and No Fire.
No Fire, yeah. So now, these days, I say, hold on, are these singers putting out work? Because especially hip hop and so on now, the most I hear is that they are on Instagram, they are handing out dollars at strip clubs, they're going after Instagram models. What is an Instagram model, Kenny? Do you go to school to become an Instagram model?
You get a camera, and you don't have to sign with anybody. Or then there's the girls that are the video actresses.
Video hoes, yeah.
Yeah.
They've become the Instagram models now because nobody's doing that many videos. So a lot of the so-called musicians, especially in hip-hop, are not out there actually musicianing. They're beefing with one another.
Sometimes they're just robbing the drug dealers that come to their shows.
Or get their tour bus shut up like Lil Wayne the other way outside of Atlanta.
And that was my man... DMX, he was charged with robbing somebody of $5,000.
DMX,
after getting it. That is when he's not busy dogfighting.
Yeah, and he was in jail for quite a while there too, right? So music, so I'm an old schooler when it comes to the music. I still like, a diverse range of music.
Right. But there is no music though that will make you go and throw that bottle through the window these days.
Yeah, nothing of no new guys out there or gals that I would point to. So I'm still anchored in an older
70s.
school, 70s, 80s even situation where
Yeah.
you had a range of cats and catettes who there's a difference between them, but they all are excellent in their own way. Now it's down to everybody just about sounding the same.
About marketing.
And marketing the shit out of it and pushing all kind of exterior things unrelated to the music so that I don't care to know anything about Rihanna beyond, she's good at her singing and so on.
See, now what I went and did was it maybe 10, 12, 15 years ago? I bought that D'Angelo CD.
Mm-hmm.
Because D'Angelo was supposed to be the, Teddy Pendergrass is crippled, Al Green is old, and Smokey's getting a face job, so who do you put on now? And I said, well, you better have something new in case it's a younger woman you got coming over. The days of women coming over going, put on that little Milton, Kenny. That ain't happening anymore.
What's little Milton? I hope your Milton ain't little.
And when I see that on call display, I don't pick it up no more. Oh my God, not her. She's still alive? She was 40 when I was 18. My goodness, so
Don't embarrass yourself, man.
so I went, I heard that this new CD, he waited 21 years before his next release.
Yes.
So I'm going, well, shit, man. Even
And
Sly
he had a lot of
Stone-
times coming, was supposed to come and didn't come and so on.
Yeah, I said even Sly Stone put his stuff out more frequently than D'Angelo. So I said, well, then I read all the reviews of D'Angelo, and they say it's a masterpiece. Black Messiah is the name of it.
Yes.
Then I'm reading there's a political angle to it, a social angle to it. And then I'm reading the women on Facebook is saying if you coming over to get some, you better bring some D'Angelo, So then I went to buy it, and when it first came out, and it was sold out. They didn't have it. Mm-hmm. And I said, and this is at the big record store that's on Young Street now.
HMV?
Yes, I always say the wrong letters when I get it. My children laugh at me, So I'm gonna go down there to HIV store and cash in this gift card y'all got me. They got a hell of a Freddie Mercury
So
section.
you finally listened to the album then?
Yes, and I'm going. This is it. This is the shit that I went there twice to look for. This is everything I've read.
See, the hype machine around things these days is that it's instructive sometimes to buy your shit or go to the movie after after that initial thrust, because you can get so caught up in the PR. And a guy like D'Angelo, the first album was super, super bad.
Yeah.
Much like that Miseducation of Lauryn Hill was a classic album back in the day, but if you listen to her today, it might
Well,
not
she's
be.
kind of lost a little bit of grip on reality since.
So what has happened is that there's been another takeover of the music business, I believe, a black music business, if you will, especially since gangster rap, when they had to neutralize.
That's already 30 years old now.
So-called political rap, and of course, the music business is so concentrated now, like they've eaten up all the small labels and so on. So you're not getting a range of excellence. You're just getting a corporate
feed.
Yeah, you're getting
Stream.
what do you call it? The cookie cutting thing, right?
Right.
You know, coming down the fan belt, whatever you will. So you're not. They're actually taking away from us to hear new talent, excellent talent. So what we got is a range that's just the corporate sanctioned ones, and everything they do, we're supposed to see as a hit.
See, like, I know it's sad if I got to stay home and hope for a new Jay-Z.
Ooh.
See, now,
Early, late Jay-Z?
I mean, Jay-Z is music that, you know, when my son's in the car, we can listen together. You know, so I'm thinking, man, if I got to, you know, because the Jay-Z that he did with Kanye, Guarding the Throne, you know, and I said, well, the throne's been abandoned for a while. Technically, the throne has been empty since Otis Redding's plane went down, and who did they sample on that? Otis Redding. So, you know.
Slick. But I think though that there's lots of music out there. I can speak for, of course, this country, especially a place like Toronto, Saida Baba Taliba. Reggae-wise, my man Esco Levi, Steele, Chelsea Stewart. There's a lot of excellent live talent out there.
You know what's the machine behind Chelsea Stewart?
Her mom.
Her mom.
Karen, her mom. That woman works her behind off.
Her mom trying to sell every $2 download, a picture, a postcard. For years, having me repost where her daughter was playing. I'm saying, this is... Wait, she was 7 years old when I first started trying to plug her. Have I been plugging this child? She's a grown-ass woman now. You know, but her mother's been put an old-school stage mom.
She does it. She works very hard.
I hope she ain't like Joe Jackson be beating that poor child.
Oh yeah, no. She's way beyond that. So what happens is that there's a lot of talent, independent talent, still happening all around. And you have to go to the clubs in your city to go hear them. They're right there. And instead of this corporate chicken feed they keep on feeding us, go out to the clubs, listen to some live music. Just check the newspapers and go down blindly like Stevie and go to a club and you hear some wonderful songs in the key of life, Kenny.
That's it. That's the best way to get your comedy too. Forget these people you see on Comedy Central.
Of course.
Forget all about them. I won't say forget the Comedy Network people because you never know when they may embrace me again. But until they do, forget them. And
Kenny, look, I was at a party and I saw some full-weighted sisters, right, dancing up, and I remembered the fat-ass dancers.
Yeah.
How'd you get away with that then, man?
everybody told me. I mean, Clement Virgo was directing the opening segment for us, and he said you're crazy. And we hired a choreographer, and he said, "Are you crazy?" And but I mean, everybody kept asking me the same question. Been obvious to anybody that's known me any period of time. Yes, but but I had no doubt it was gonna work. And I'll tell you what made that gave me all sparked the idea in my head. Before my own personal likes or dislikes or fetishes or anything of that, I saw in a movie theater in Chicago, School Days. And there's one of the big
Spike Lee's film.
Yeah, and there's one of these big dance scenes in the gym, and there was a large girl jumping, doing the splits, and this is Southside Chicago movie theater, and they're howling, clapping, thumping, and you hear an entire section go, "Look at that big girl go!" And I'm thinking, you know what? Ain't nothing in the world prettier than seeing a big ass woman shake it.
I'm telling you, and can shake it well.
Yes. So, and that was me just listening to that audience response in School Days, the rest of the movie can be forgotten about. Wake up! You know, the rest of that movie can be forgotten about.
He's having an open casting call this week in Chicago for his new movie, Spike Lee.
Chirac. See, now the city of Chicago's giving him a $2 million credit, tax credit.
Nice.
And they want him to change the name. Not call it Chirac because it's negative and this and that. I'm saying $2 million. I said Spike will just pack up his shit and go down to Gary, Indiana, which is a 25-minute drive, and got just as many murders and homicides and extras to use. And Gary ain't had anything good in there since the Jacksons left, so he can still call it Chicago, and he just put the camera there and get that Chicago skyline in the background anytime he wants. So you want to go mess with? But then again, he's the one that made Crooklyn, so you can't mess with it. You can't. But they say, well, if we're giving $2 million tax credit, then we have the right to. Because once again, they're worried about the appearances.
Oh yeah, look,
bourgeois.
Chicago needs to worry about appearances.
I like the name Chirac.
Oh yeah, hey, why not?
You know, but
could be anything else. It's cool.
Then again, I used to always try to get my younger brother to show my children his gunshot wounds, which he was always kind of shy about. So show the baby your chest.
But Kenny, I know that you're a blues man. You're one of the guys that got me into the blues, kind of, to make it more part of my musical diet. And I remember, go to places like the Silver Dollar, and you get there, and you can count the number of black folks on your amputated left hand.
If they wouldn't be any, they weren't on the stage. If they weren't, the only blacks you'd find would be on the stage. But one beautiful thing I always loved about the blues bands from Chicago, they always had a white Jewish kid on keyboards.
On keyboards, it's nice to have one in the band.
But always on keyboards. And you know what to me it was? It was him paying his parents back. He said, you made me play these fucking pianos. You made me take these lessons. I couldn't go here. Now I'm going to play with these Schwarzes. Now I'm going to spend my life hanging out with these guys who can't read or write. I'm going to drink from the same bottle in front of the club on the street. I may knock one of these up and you'll have a little mulatto grandchild you'll have to explain to your friends in the Mahjong games.
And he's going to change he's going to be influenced by Eastern philosophy and change his name to Abdul Epstein.
That's it. Then you got a whole different kind of beat coming up. So, but that was a beautiful thing about all those Chicago-based blues bands. They always had the Jewish boy on keyboards, and you could tell he was coming from a place of resentment.
So with blues, and it's similar to, not as pronounced as the blues, but you go to jazz shows, especially certain types of jazz shows, the older, better players and so on, somebody who's not like Kenny G-ish, you will see, again, just maybe a little bit more than you'd see at the blues. Why is that? Why do black folks seemingly not be embracing blues? And jazz? Are we ashamed of them? Or?
Well, okay, this... Bottom line is, blues is always associated with that southern, down-home, cotton, slavery stuff, okay? I embrace it because when I was like 4 years old and went to Chicago, moving from Montreal, I can remember things. And I remember the neon lights. And I remember the Cadillacs.
I love neon lights, man.
And I remember my dad's friends with all conked hair. So when I hear that bang, 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 that's new pair of shoes, just like Daddy's, two-toned and pointed. It was everything.
Style, baby.
It was everything of the black migration upwards, or for us coming from Canada going down to Chicago to get it.
The anti-migration, yeah.
So, still either running from something or running to something. But, so that whole thing of the blues is like the grandparents thing. Now, jazz, you have to be somewhat educated and musically trained to embrace. So since they stopped putting music in the school systems, public school system, they've cut back on this and that. So the youth, they've either gone to R&B, which still ain't the same thing as having a bass player. I mean, all the, whatever you want to say about the Jackson 5, every one of them boys can play an instrument. So you've gotten away from kids even playing instruments now. I heard something good. I can put on here and why play this riff? Why take the discipline to learn to play this
riff?
When
you can just
when I can just copy it. When I could just re-record it and sample it or remix it with all this other technology. So it isn't the same thing happening, you know.
Does it feel like you awkward a little times for you to like when I go to a jazz show and I see an all-white jazz band?
I never gonna see an all-white jazz band. Honestly, I can't tell you. I really can't tell you if that's awkward or not. You know, I'm not saying I didn't enjoy the Shuffle Demons Spadina bus, but I was never
I
going
love the
down
Shuffle
there.
Demons, by the way. I love it.
But I can't say I've ever gone down to see them. You know.
And not ragtime. What's that music at the turn of the century?
Dixieland.
Dixieland.
Oh
yeah.
no, Dixieland is for like it's for white old diabetics. That's for like Jackie Gleason was a big Dixieland fan, you know.
Isn't that ex sexual abuser music Woody Allen? He's a big
Oh, he's
Dixieland.
the Woody, yeah. He very much. Well, that's because Dixieland reminds him of New Orleans back when they had the whorehouses with 13-year-olds. And so that's why Woody Allen embraces that musical genre so much. Pretty Baby was more than just a movie for him. It was a lifestyle change and decision. When it comes to jazz, I still like to hear the classics. I still love the the Miles and any of the Marcelluses and McBride and anybody coming after that.
Yeah,
you know, so.
And there's a lot of contemporary, thankfully, even in this town, there's some young jazz musicians coming through. Here's the thing: I was a unit manager for a jazz production company back when I was in university.
Okay.
And unit manager said, "Unit manager, what's that?" It's me and this ex-Chicago guy, my man Jerubu, bless his soul. Our gig was to find beautiful sisters to be usherettes, wink, wink, and to
show the band back to their hotel. Was that the thing they were supposed to do? No wonder why you got your TV show in that alley over there in your neighborhood. See how it all comes together?
Well, that and to get the musicians whatever they wanted.
Yes.
Wink, wink.
Yeah, yeah.
But so anyway, and there was like a lot of AACM, Chicago, Randy Weston, all those kind of heavy, freaky, wild jazz guys. So Sun Ra now. Sun Ra, I'm talking to Sun Ra, right? I'm really reverential, and I'm looking to him. He's talking about Saturn and Egypt.
Yes.
And I'm waiting for him to say, I was just joking. No, I was especially serious. So I just got into jazz. I got into jazz through the guys at Kudu, you know what I mean? All of the guys who play the R&B tunes, you know what I mean?
Right.
Stanley Turrentine and Grover Washington, all those kind of guys. Because in high school, you couldn't tell me a song is not a song without some singing.
That's one reason I started listening more jazz than blues one period of time after my first marriage, because there's no misogynist lyrics in jazz. So to be a better person, I started listening to jazz.
So here am I now, coming from the guys at Kudu, the Stanley Turrentines and Juan Carter and all that.
Yeah.
Be influenced, and I bought my first
Sun Ra
CD album, because the guy was out there selling the vinyl, right?
Yeah.
Get it on, listen to the whole album, both sides. Then I put on the Earth, Wind and Fire and realized I played the entire album at the wrong speed, Kenny. Listen to Sun Ra at 45 out of 33 at the third RPM. Enjoy the shit out of it.
My dad got Sun Ra booked on the Ed Sullivan Show.
Yeah?
Yeah, my dad worked for a while as a booking agent, and he made a few phone calls, got Sun Ra on there. Roland Kirk was another guy that he did some business with. The thing.
Two of my favorites. I love Rashawn.
Roland could put that
in his nose, man.
Yeah.
He plays these
He had
saxophones
two horns
at the
in
same
his
time.
mouth, and then
The nose,
but the best thing, I had walkouts. I told the story. I think last time I had somebody on the last time I had a guest on here that we had to wrap it up. Back in Winnipeg, my dad had the booze cans that anytime the jazz guys came to town, he was the provider. So they needed, much like the job that you had,
Dig.
and then my mom
Unit manager.
they didn't call it that then. They said go see Kenny, and my mom had her wild ass friends that say, "Hey, Risa, you want to come meet Duke Ellington tonight?" Yes, I do.
Why not?
You know, so nothing's changed except now I'm sure. Actually, I did a show, Keith Sweat.
Oh yeah, Keith Sweat is still big in some circles. Old
Yes,
school
well,
circles.
Keith Sweat actually had people that went through the audience handing out backstage passes for after the show.
Wow.
And I said, man, you do that and you missed your first flight and cost the promoter an extra $1,200 and you've got people getting backstage for you? Anyway,
Well,
you
look,
folks here.
Just before you go, Kenny, because I know there's one guy we got to talk about just briefly, because I know he must be a hero used as mine. Charles Mingus.
Absolutely.
If you must have read his autobiography, Beneath the Underdog.
Yeah,
Excellent book.
And there's something, yeah.
Well, there's an incident where he meets Sun Ra outside of a show in New York. He says to, Mingus says to Ra, "Sun Ra, what are you doing here?" Ra says, "Well, I try to come to New York every 3 months or so to do a show to keep myself together." He says, "Motherfucker, I'm not talking about New York. What are you doing on Earth?"
And then Sun Ra said, "I don't know," and it was gone.
Yep, going back to Saturn where the
I do believe there would have been no George Clinton without Sun Ra.
Absolutely not. Yeah, you're right.
So anyway, that's nice to continue the link up. Folks, this show's gone a little bit overtime then, but hey, you don't mind it with a hockey playoff, so why would you mind it with a great guest I've had today, Mr. Clifton Joseph. Where can they check you out again?
www.eglintontv.com. That's EGLINTONTV.com.
See, you got to be a good speller.
And you can call me at 555-9555-49.
For those of you that are Otis Redding songs, that's that fa 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 fa. So, anyway, this is Kenny Robinson. We've been breaking down the news.
Kenny and the Jets.
Kenny. That's good music for stutterers.
Kenny and the Jets.
There have been no R&B or rock and roll without stutterers. Even back when Turner Overdrive. Baby, you ain't seen nothing yet. That's what we need. 20 great stuttering hits.
Yeah, I'd like to see an orchestra of stutterers, actually.
That'd be something. Now, if I had any stutterers watching, I hope we get a protest.
Dig. Hey, call us at Kenny at smithytv.com. His phone number is 555
4 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 5.
Ow.
Area code 5 5 5. Check us out next Monday. We're on your computer. Later.